Good evening. Before the dawn of recorded time, scientists believe, there existed a land bridge between the North American continent and Asia, where the Bering Sea now flows. It's across this land that Native Americans are thought to have migrated from the east. During their trek, did those early settlers intrude on the territory of a mystical creature which still inhabits thousands of square miles of forest from northern California to Canada? This beast crops up again and again in Native American mythology and has many names. Bukwas, Oma, and Sasquatch are just a few. But you and I know it as Bigfoot.
Impenetrable woodland covers vast areas of the Pacific Northwest. Sparsely populated and largely unexplored, the region is believed by many to be the habitat of the mysterious and elusive Bigfoot, for whom the forests provide the perfect sanctuary.
It's just fascinating to think that a large bipedal hominid, hair-covered ape of some sort is wandering around in these woods around us. There certainly is enough resources to support something like that.
Todd Niess is a computer manager from Portland in Oregon and a sergeant in America's National Guard. During a training exercise in the forests, Todd had just detonated some explosives when he says he noticed movement near the blast site.
There, standing in the middle, were these three figures, very dark, almost jet black in color, standing on two legs, arms to their side, quite like a human would.
Minutes later, Niess was approached by a startled colleague.
And he goes, "Did you happen to see what I saw?" I said, "I don't know, what did you see?" And it's at that time he came out and said, "Well, for lack of a better word, I saw three of these big feet." And I said, "Bingo, I saw them too."
It's accounts like this which maintain the interest and curiosity of Bigfoot fans like Larry Lund.
Since I was a kid, I've always been in wonderment of things that I can't prove are there, that I haven't seen. I'm an investigator. I go out to sites where there's been sightings of the creature or tracks. A lot of it, of course, is hoaxing, and you can tell, but we do get a lot of information.
The legend of Bigfoot is so compelling that over the years, it's generated a minor industry. It's also encouraged hoaxers to make outrageous claims and falsify evidence.
Here's an example of a lot of the fakes we get. As you can see, it doesn't have a real definite foot shape. And the toes are just straight across out to here and then real wide and bulbous. Now there's one toe there, and this one appears to be missing the little toe coming up.
And the hoaxers don't stop at Bigfoot's little toes.
I want you to listen to this. This is a tape that has been sent. It's supposed to be the sound of a Bigfoot. And this is what people say they're hearing.
This is not the sound of a Bigfoot. It's a fake, recorded in a church bell tower. But there's one piece of evidence that even Larry finds persuasive. In 1967, a Bigfoot enthusiast called Roger Paterson shot this remarkable piece of film in Bluff Creek, California.
It shows this creature walking away from Roger Paterson as he filmed. He runs behind it.
Paterson claims he'd filmed a female Bigfoot.
As she turned, you can really see that it is a female creature then, because she has large pendulous breasts. And as she disappears, you can still see the movement of the skin. You can see the muscle tone. I'm convinced this is a real creature.
The following day, Paterson returned to Bluff Creek and took what he claims were casts of footprints made by the Bigfoot.
A somewhat normal-looking human-type foot. Toes are displayed just about right, nice angle, a nice flat heel here with no outrageous lines in it. So, since we do have the film and these were cast by people the next day, we believe these are real.
The Paterson film has always aroused controversy. Its supporters point to the fact that in 30 years, nobody has confessed to a hoax. They also claim that no one at the time would have had the skills to fake it.
Several of the movie people and their special effects have looked at this film. They said, "Larry, Back then, 1967, not possible.
1,000 miles to the north lies Vancouver Island in British Columbia. It's surrounded by numerous smaller islands where dense forest extends to the shoreline. For centuries, these islands have been home to Native Americans. Village Island, now long since abandoned, was the birthplace of Tom Sewid. For him and his tribe, the legend of Bigfoot, or Bukwas as they call the creature, is part of folklore.
My people of Kwakiutl have always believed in a being that inhabits this area. Now, the Bukwas is said to be a large, hair-covered giant that you can see on the beaches when you're out clam digging on low tide. And many of our legends and dances are about the Bukwas. When you dance, you imitate this, and the Bukwas will be there, like this, hiding behind his arm. And as he steps, he comes forward and he pulls his arm up.
4 years ago, Tom and a friend took a boat trip around the deserted islands off the Vancouver coast.
Just as it got dark, I started calling for wolves to see if I'd get an answer from them. To my surprise, I got a call from the beach, but it wasn't wolves. It was a whistling, whooping sort of noise. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And at the same time, a really bad smell came drifting towards my boat. You smell that? Boy,
what's that stink?
We saw something move, a shadow come out of the bush. You see that, Dean?
Yeah, I see it.
And right there, the first thing I noticed was this great creature, like a human covered in hair, just boom. I was amazed because he'd done the same posturing that I'd been taught when I used to dance the Bukwas for my grandfather. I would estimate its width of its body was like a 45-gallon oil drum. That's how big it was.
Jeez, look at that thing.
Tom says he and his friend watched in amazement until the creature finally strode off down the beach.
Bukwas I knew about as a creature that ate cockles and clams on the beaches and was shy of humans. You know, I've grown up with the legends. I guess I had my doubts, but after that night, no doubts. There is definitely some humanoid creature out there that is way bigger than a man, covered in hair, smells like heck, and shares the land with us.
Did Tom really see a Bigfoot that night? Skeptics believe there is a simple explanation. The witnesses have been confusing Bukwas, or Sasquatch, with wild bears, common to the region. This theory is rejected by wildlife biologist Dr. John Bindernagel, who has studied hundreds of sightings.
Sasquatch differs from a bear actually in several ways, although superficially there's a similarity. If we look at a Sasquatch, just the outline, it has a much shorter neck, long legs, and in profile, a very flat face. A bear, by comparison, has a very prominent snout, has very sloping or tapered shoulders, and has very short legs. And so, again, although there is this superficial similarity, it doesn't bear any serious analysis.
One day in July 1985, the Bradshaw family from Washington State went on a camping trip deep into the woods.
We had heard that there was a sighting of Sasquatch in the North River area and decided that we were going to go out and check it out.
Dad, we hunting as well as fishing here?
You can't be too careful. It was a beautiful day down there, but yet there was an eeriness to it. It was just something that wasn't quite right.
Fred and his son Rick went off to the river to fish, leaving Carol behind at the campsite.
There was this total stillness. And the stillness does make you wonder, because you have a feeling when you're in the woods that there is something watching. And that was how this day was.
At dusk, Fred and Rick returned to the campsite to join Carol for dinner.
I decided, well, we'd get some sleep.
Don't stay up too late, Rick. You want to get ahead.
And then we'd get up later in the night, and then we'd go look around at night, because these creatures seem to roam more at night.
What the heck was that?
All of a sudden, there was just this big, loud, like a big limb had fallen.
Sounded like a tree came down in the middle of the camp.
I don't know, maybe it's just a bear or a cougar or something.
Over there.
A weird feeling hit me, kind of the back of the spine over the top of the head. And I said, Dad, do you see what I see?
Here was this form that was standing behind a tree. It was just awesome to see.
The Bradshaws claim this was no fleeting glimpse, and the creature was in their sight for several minutes before it disappeared. They're insistent it was a Bigfoot.
I saw what I saw, and I can't prove it to anyone else. You just have to have an open mind about it.
Until a Bigfoot is captured, doubts about its existence will remain. Whether Bigfoot exists or not, Larry Lund believes the phenomenon fulfills a basic human need.
I think it's the mystery of life. You need something to believe in, you know, something that you can't quite see and you can't quite touch, but that it's out there and you hope that it's there. We need our monsters.
The professor of anthropology at an American university recently called for a hunt to track and kill Bigfoot to prove its existence. If Bigfoot were found, the species' isolated life will be destroyed forever, along with a tantalizing mystery. In part 2, we look at the continuing fascination of Ouija boards and the misery and suffering they cause.